Well, hello and welcome back to Automotive Grace. And today is a slightly different episode. You've seen the video from when Dad was here and our lovely trip down to Goodwood, the Goodwood Revival. Well worth it. You should definitely go. I'd like to tell you how wonderful my bitter CD ran on the trip down there, but that wouldn't be correct. I actually had a few little problems on the way down, and I want to just diagnose them today and show you what I find. So let me show you what the problem was. So what we found was the car developed a misfire, and normally as soon as a car gets a misfire, the first reaction is, well, pretty peed off about it because it interferes with my enjoyment of the car. So I was pretty annoyed that the car wasn't running really smoothly. But we were able to drive it in such a way that it was fine all the way down. On a very light throttle, no problem, and let it gradually build up speed and then get up to cruising speed, just ease off the throttle, and it ran beautifully. It was the moment it was under load. So when you were accelerating fairly hard or up a steep hill, there was a lot of stumbling and what felt like a misfire. And that was particularly annoying. So let me just demonstrate what that was like. So you can see here, starting the car and idling it, it sounds absolutely beautiful. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. Even revving it up whilst in neutral, lovely and smooth. So we pull away here, very light throttle, you can hear, very, very nice, smooth, no problems whatsoever. And it's possible to get up to normal operating speed quite easily with a very light throttle pedal. It's only when you really floor it or the engine is under load up a hill that the problem shows itself. And as the car gets hotter, it gets worse. So here you can see pulling away here, giving it a little bit of throttle, and you can hear the misfire there. Did you hear it? Let's take a few examples of that, and just listen closely. You'll be able to hear the misfire. There, did you hear that? Yeah, misfiring, or apparent misfire. Now my first reaction is, oh, it's a carburetor problem, fueling, some sort of dirt in the carburetor. I'm going to have to take the whole carburetor off, I have to strip it down, clean out all the little jets, and that's a bit of a pain in the ass. But that was my first thought when I heard the misfire. But then as time goes by, and I start thinking these things through in my head, and I'm just thinking, okay, it starts fine, it idles very smoothly, on light throttle, no problem, build up on light throttle to cruising speed, and it runs beautifully. Only when you're under load, up a hill, or you're putting your foot down a little bit harder than normal. So that's probably not carburation, that's probably more like spark. Because if it was carburation, it would be all the time, it wouldn't just be under light throttle, and you'd be able to replicate it in neutral, just lifting up the revs. So I think the problem is probably spark related, and in a way that's good news because that's a little bit easier to fix. And I have a full set of ignition here for the bitter, which I bought several years ago just as a spare. So I have a new distributor, plugs, leads, coil, everything that I need. So I want to first see if I can find the offending problem. So what I'm going to be looking for is any gap in the ignition system. The only gap you should have is on the points and on the spark plug, no other gap. Now the spark is strong enough to jump a gap, but what happens is over time that creates a carbon buildup on the electrodes. It also generates heat. So under full load, when full spark is required, you start getting that misfire, or well, yeah, it is a misfire. And we should be able to visibly see it if we go through the ignition system and find the area that hasn't been making proper contact. There should be a sort of a carbon deposit on that area, or in some cases even a hole burnt in the distributor cap or one of those components. So let's have a look around, see if we can find it. So here we have the Bitter's beautiful engine. It's a Chevrolet 327 cubic inch V8, lifted straight out of the Corvette of the period. And it is a beautiful, beautiful smooth engine, and sounds fantastic. So we have the distributor cap here with all the plug leads. We've got the coil just hiding underneath here, so should be able to just take these off one by one and have a look and see if we can find the problem. And if it's not here in any of the plug leads or any of the contacts, we'll take the distributor cap off and have a look at the distributor cap and see if we can see if anything's going on inside there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just have a visual inspection and see if there's anything obvious here in the ignition. Everything looks fairly good here. The wires don't seem to show any signs of burning or damage. That looks okay. They're spread out nicely going down there, down the bottom. You can see the 327 has the exhaust manifold that rises up above the spark plugs. So it's all very difficult to get to there, but just looking here, the spreaders are being used for the wires. No obvious issues there that I can see. Nothing touching the exhaust. Let's have a look at the other side. One thing I did notice here is on the distributor cap, there's a little crack. Can you see there? Yeah, you can see just over there, there's a little piece missing out of the distributor cap. So that's chipped off at some stage. So I think a new distributor cap is a good idea anyway. Well, I've just taken the air cleaner off and just going to make sure nothing finds its way in there. You do not want anything falling in there. I'm just going to start by taking off the plug wires. Now I've labeled each one individually so that there's no problem there. I've also taken a photograph of it so I know where everything goes, and I know where number one is. And you can use this archaic method, which is Tipex. And you see I've just numbered them, and I'm just going to mark where number one is on the distributor cap. There we go. Now we can put it all back together. Right, so let's just start here. Taking these off. We'll start with the yeah, that looks all nice and clean. It's all good. Let's just start with, well, there's a problem. Have a look at that. It's burnt right off. Can you see in there? And then the electrode is left hanging behind. Yeah, that's definitely part of the problem. A very familiar sounding problem. Oh well, that's good news. And not good news that it's broken, but good news that we've found a problem. So let's keep going. Yeah, that all looks fine. Yeah, that looks good. Looking good. Looks all right. Yeah, so far looking good. Looking good. Looking good. All right, so we've definitely found one that that is an issue. Let's take off that that cap and take a closer look. Okay, so let's have a look at that cap. Now, just looking inside, there's a little bit of burning on the electrodes there. So this was the one that was the problem. It looks relatively okay. Definitely some arcing going on there. It looks fairly normal. That could be working fine, and then this the spark is jumping from the electrode to the plug wire, and that is a bad idea. So yeah, let's just have a look at the contacts. They all look nice and shiny, except the one. So can you see there? All looks good, except number one. Yeah, you can see it's all dull and black. That's because the spark has been jumping down the broken electrode. The spark is powerful enough to jump down there, but yeah, it is a no-no, and that is almost certainly causing the problem. Yeah, well, it's glad that we found it so easy, and yeah, I think we can fix it pretty easily as well. Now, the other problem here is that this has a little crack on the side. That shouldn't really be a problem because it's not cracked through the body. And if we just hold it here, just check on the inside here, there's no obvious cracks. And just looking here at the rotor, you can see there's some wear there, some corrosion. It should be a bit longer, and you can see there's been some sparking at the end there. And that's worn that down just a little bit. So let's replace the rotor as well, and then the points at the same time. Whew, that took a while. Oh, the spark plug wire. Why does this look so familiar? I feel as if we've been here fairly recently. Now looking inside the plug wire on the plug end, it looks okay. I don't see any burns on that end. The plug itself, plug wire itself looks good. No damage. Yeah, it all looks pretty good here. It's just the yeah, it's just the distributor end. You can see there. Looks pretty terrible in there. Let's see if we can swap it out. Yeah, you can see that's been arcing quite a bit across there. So I would bet that is almost certainly the problem. Here's where I skillfully feed it through again. And in case you're interested, here's a cool little wire spreading technique that you can use to spread your plug wires. put one cable tie around the whole thing. Loosely close it up so that they're all alongside each other. And then take a couple through the bottom, out the top, or the other way around, from the bottom. Down. And lightly tighten for later. For all three. And the last one as well. Around the whole thing. And then right at the end I will show you, you just tighten those up nicely and everything is good. Right, so I'm just going to replace the condenser as well as the points. So just getting the little condenser out while I'm here. Now, before I started this, I just made sure that the points were on a high point so that I can set the points gap when I put it back together. Give it a little wipe while I'm here. It's the only problem really with V8s is that you're always stretching over the entire engine to get anywhere, which is not ideal. Looks good. Let's get the rest of it off. Let's drop the new points straight in. There we go. Make sure it's not holding anything up and tighten it down. There we go. Let's get the cables on. There we go. Wires out the way, nothing being fouled. Now I've just pushed that lever against the swivel, and now I'll just take it in till we get to, according to the manual, 19 thou when new, 16 when old. Now these are the old points here, and now that they're removed, we can open them up. And you can see in there they are quite burned. So yeah, definitely that could have contributed in some small way, but they're definitely past their best and due for replacement. Also have the old rotor here, and if you compare it with a new one, you can see there the new one has a lot more meat left on the edge here. Otherwise it's almost identical, except this original one I see is made in the USA, and this particular one was sourced from Germany, but these days you don't really know where it's all made. Let's give everything a little wipe here. Oh, looks fine. Clean off those contact points there. And the rotor only goes on one way around. There's a round peg and a square peg, so you're never going to put it on 180 degrees off. Right, so we've got the new coil in. One of the little connectors here was hanging by a thread, so I've just had to put a new connector on there just to be safe. Coil is in, new points, condenser, rotor is in. It all looks good, so yeah, let's get the new distributor cap on, and then we can feed the cables through. Nice and shiny and new. And it goes on one of two ways, but if you remember, I marked the other one so that I know which way it goes on. Just get that side and the other. Nice. And now I get the plug leads on. Now remember, I marked the original one with a number 1, and each individual plug lead is also marked, so we can put them back in order. So I've drawn a little diagram here just of the firing order, and the most important one obviously is just to get number 1 in. That's the one that was broken, and it's now been replaced, but we'll start with number 1 and then we can just work our way around. So yeah, let's get number 1 in, and what I'm looking for here is a nice metallic click to make sure that it's seating properly. Not getting that yet. There we go. That sounds good. So 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 7, 5. That's nice. 1, 2, 7, 5, 6. Then 3. Then 4. And 8. No, this one's safe. Okay, now I'll itself. Well, let's put it there. Feed around like so. And good. Okay. All right. Now I'll just have to remove the tags, and then should be good to put the air filter back on, start her up, and make sure she runs. Well, sounding good, but it did sound good before on idle and on low rev, so let's give it a little bit of welly once it's warmed up and see if we get that problem again under load. Sounding good. Everything looks okay here. Right, now it's time for a test drive. Under load now, and yeah, sounds sweet as it should. Yeah, sounds good. Happy days. Problem solved, all good. Looking forward to going to Bicester for the monthly meet this coming Sunday. And the theme for the meeting is German cars, so I should get some odd looks if I take a bit. I'm looking forward to that. I'll take some video so you can see what's going on, and yeah, thanks for joining me for this little doing stuff in the workshop. Well, I won't lie to you, I'm quite relieved that misfire problem was relatively easy to solve with bits and pieces that I have in stock. It was an ignition problem, and I'm glad I gave it some thought as to exactly what the issue was before I started stripping the carburetor and what have you off. So yeah, running smoothly like a dream. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I look forward to hearing from you. And at some point, let me know. Maybe I'll do a full review of my bit of CD and show you what it's all about. But yeah, thanks again. Appreciate you watching. Bye.